Massive cover-up, massive crime scene, a great big huge stinky pile of corruption in New York, says Congresswoman ELISE STEFANIC. Now I called her Glens Falls offices today, and I made it very, very clear to the Congresswoman that that's ELISE STEFANIC from Glens Falls. She's alleging that the nursing home deaths of sticking COVID patients in amongst the elderly in New York was the most criminally negligent crime scene in the history of the United States. And I have to agree with her. You don't take people with a communicable infectious disease and stick them in with a bunch of elderly that are feeble and they're susceptible to getting sick a lot easier than younger people. So crime scene, cover up, whitewash, absolutely. And this is how Cuomo runs the state. The massive dumping of sewage all over the state is one example. Just in Manhattan, 480 sewer pipes, 8 foot in diameter and larger. 480 sewer pipes dumping massive amounts of raw infectious human sewage into the East River and into New York Harbor. At the end of the Hudson there. I almost said the Mississippi. Well, it's as bad. The Mississippi's just as bad. And so isn't the Ohio River and the Tennessee River. Oh my God, the St. Lawrence River. What a freaking open sewer. The people of New York and the Canadians dump more sewage into the St. Lawrence. It's staggering. And it's full of all kinds of infectious bacteria and infectious diseases. So, ELISE STEFANIC, I can't agree with you more. Cuomo and his Department of Health and Cuomo and his environmental protection people, particularly at Raybrook, New York, are the biggest pack of freaking criminals walking. And cover up. Let's ask Basil Sagos for the numbers on sewage being dumped all over New York State in the middle of this COVID infectious disease. National emergency? President Biden declared a national emergency yesterday. Come on, folks. This is going on from Wuhan, China, to England, to Barcelona, Spain, Milan, Italy, all over France, all over Mexico, all over Central America and South America, Brazil, Argentina, and the United States. Massive, gargantuan, staggering, unbelievable amounts of infectious human sewage being splattered everywhere. Now, what the hell do they think they're doing? What do they think they're doing, ELISE STEFANIC? And the Attorney General for the state of New York, Letitia James, you got to answer here. You got to answer with Basil Sagos, the director of DEC. What are they doing dumping so much sewage all over New York State into the public's waterways? It's going on in Illinois. It's going on in Washington State. It's going on in Hawaii. It's going on in the Carolinas. It's going on a massive scale in Florida. All over the nation, infectious human biological waste is being splattered and dumped all across the American landscape. And for some crazy odd reason, we have this COVID fiasco. I mean, come on, folks. How do you think it's spreading? The flu, meningitis, typhoid, German measles, all these other diseases. Sewage spreads it. Now, somebody's getting rich here, folks, from people sick and dying. There's a lot of money in people getting sick and dying. If you think I'm kidding around, ask ELISE STEFANIC for the amounts of money being spent on this nursing home mess of Andy Cuomo's. How many Social Security accounts got canceled out. And who got to keep all that money? Yeah, exactly. And the medical expenses and all the additional healthcare facilities and healthcare workers and all this knee-jerk reaction to this massive giant mess of people like Andy Cuomo. So, ladies and gentlemen, all the information and the links you need are below. And if you think that ELISE STEFANIC is pointing the finger, she's pointing the finger right at Cuomo and calling him a big criminal. And, gee, ELISE STEFANIC. You know, I'm from Glens Falls, by the way, ELISE. I called your offices today, and I told them I grew up on Cunningham Avenue and Goodman Street. Right there in that corner, not far from the Glens Falls Senior High School. And grew up on Lake George. And you know something, ELISE STEFANIC? I've been studying and investigating the flushing of large amounts of human wastes and industrial toxins. I've been doing it since the 1960s. You know, before Earth Day, before the first Earth Day, ELISE STEFANIC, before you were born. And the cover-up and the whitewash in New York State of this sewage flushing like on Lake George, the flushing, the drawdown of Lake George, David Wick, Sheriff James LaFar, and the Warren County Board of Supervisors, the flushing of Lake George. How much does all this cost? Moving all that sewage over to Lake Champlain. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. ELISE STEFANIC, I can't agree with you more. 100% can't agree with you more. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave it right there. And remember, the information and links you need are below. God bless.